In this video, I want to show you how to set up an axial grid for the layout of your poster. Now, an axial grid is meant to have a single axis in which all of your text or your imagery can flow around. Now, there's different ways you can do this, and I like to use Adobe Illustrator simply because they've got some really good drawing tools and it's a little bit more free to move things around. But this technique still works in Photoshop, in InDesign, or any software that you want to work in. You'll see why I like to use Illustrator in just a moment. The first thing I've done is I've typed out all of my text, and right now I've got a good simple idea of hierarchy. I've got my title and a subtitle. That's the biggest, most eye-catching thing. I've got a couple of dates that I just quickly typed out, and I've got some body copy text, just some dummy text to place those in. Now, it's very important that I've already established the good hierarchy of all of my text first. That's going to make it easier in placing things and moving things around. Because once I place it on here, I don't want something that should be small to wind up too big and too overpowering for my design. So the first thing I do is type everything out. And by the way, I've put everything in its own separate little box or separate little line so I can easily move it around. And then I set the size for everything. The next thing I need to do is I need to set up a line grid that I can work in. To do this, I can use Adobe's or Illustrator's pen tool, or I can use the simple line tool, which is hiding underneath here. Both of these will allow me to draw off lines that I want to work in. I'm going to use the pen tool. I'll set my stroke to be just a solid black 1-point uniform stroke. Now, the simplest radial axis that you can give yourself is just a straight up and down line. So there it is, set for there. Let's give myself a couple of different other options. I'm going to make a copy of my artboard and see if some other types of axes we could do. So I've got a straight up radial one, or I can do something that's diagonal. Now with diagonal, I can choose any angle that I want to work in. So if it starts off here, maybe I'd want something more or less slanted, but I'll keep it at that. And then another way you can do a axial one is by doing a broken line or a jagged style of line. And these are the most fun because you want to be able to give yourself kind of a lightning bolt type pattern, and then you can go back in with your white arrow and adjust the placement of everything. So each of these kind of comes in handy depending on how you want to set these up. Once you get the placement of everything for your design, we want to be able to convert these lines into a guideline that can't move, and we can just place everything on top of it and it won't print. Right now, if I was to print these lines would be in the way. To make a guideline out of them, simply select the line that you've created. You can go up to View, down to Guides, and choose Make Guides. Notice when it does this, it'll turn your guide into the outline or the guideline style or whatever color that you have selected for that layer. In my case, it's that cyan blue. Because I have my guides locked down, I can't select it and I can't move it around. It's simply going to be on my page, and later on I can go and I can turn off the visibility of it. Now I can go in and I can start to place my text and information around it. So in this case, if this was the movie title and subtitle, maybe I'll place it over here. All of my dates can be scaled down appropriately and I'll have them flow along this particular edge. And I've got some body copy that can also fit that edge too. And in this case, if I really wanted to enhance it, let's pull it over to the right side. Now if I turn off visibility, boom, instantly I've got a good axial radius that falls along that side. To use my horizontal axis, again, go up, select it, and go up to View, down to your Guides, and choose Make Guides. By the way, the keyboard shortcut is Command 5 if you're on a Mac. And then I can copy over my text, and let's see how well this will work. So if I wanted to do this, I need to rotate it so that it fits the axis that's here. Whoops, looks like I had too many things selected. Now I could rotate it so that the title and subtitle are like this, or I could rotate it so that the title and subtitle even interact with each other this way. That's actually giving me a really cool kind of look and feel in itself. Maybe a little bit more so that it's at a right angle. There's no particular set rules that you have to follow. The only thing that you want to make sure is that your text is nice and readable, and that it's following along the path that you've got set up. So this is a great and simple way of adding and creating all the elements that are here. And we'll take it and let's maybe something like this. So now I've got that as my axial design for that too. I'm not saying that's the best layout, but that's a way of being able to do it. For something like this, where it's a little bit more dynamic, we'll play around with it just a bit more. In this case, we've got things going off at different angles or different styles. So with it selected, again, going up to View, my guides, we're going to make a guide out of this one. Then I can copy over my information. So maybe in this case, movie title is going to go off one way and follow along that axis. And this is going to go off, we'll keep it going off as a separate axis along here. And then this one is going to go off one way, fit inside of one area. And I'll have the other text fit along the other side of the area. And maybe I'll have the different dates flow along another axis. Again, it's simply meant to be a starting point for placing my information on here. So automatically, whoops, you can see I didn't copy that over. I've been able to play around with the placement of my headlines, subheadlines, and any other text that's along here. And I use the different axes to be able to create these. I apologize, looks like I've gotten rid of this, so I'll rebuild it. This is what I want to see for one of your posters, using some sort of axial design and placing that design within your poster and all the information that should go along with it as well. From here, once you get your design created, then you can start adding the visual elements that should be on top of it. So play around with the placement of things first for this one, then go back in and try to work in your visuals and work around that as well.